Hello students, welcome to Korn's Thoughts. I'm Professor Korn from KTU, a university where I teach you all you need to know to be the best supernatural you can be. For today's Jutsu school session, Jutsulogy 1-on-1, we'll be talking about perhaps one of the most influential and recognizable techniques aside from Rasengan in the Narutoverse. This technique is known as the Great Fireball Jutsu. Before starting our lesson, and in order for you to understand the concepts taught in this lesson, you will need to be familiar either theoretically or by experience with the following concepts. Chakra as an energy concept because it is the fundamental knowledge you need to be able to perform the technique. Fire as an element, again, whether by experience or by theory. And finally, Kekai Genkai as a concept should be known either cursorily or by experience. It is recommended that you know what a Kekai Genkai is, but it is not required for my class. So, what is the Great Fireball Jutsu? The Great Fireball Jutsu is a fire release or fire type technique where the user needs or builds up chakra within their body to expel it either as a giant fireball or a continuous flamethrower, hence the name the Great Fireball. Depending on whether you are a dub or a sub fan, you will recognize the English name Fire Style Fireball Jutsu or Romanji version Katon Gokakyu no Jutsu, which translates to Fire Release Great Fireball Jutsu. You might be thinking, how do I get started with the Great Fireball Jutsu? It sounds fun. Well, to use this ability, you need to at least know the Fire Release Kekai Genkai. What is a Kekai Genkai, you may ask? A Kekai Genkai is basically your genetic predisposition to be able to do something specific with your chakra. It is fundamentally the fire gene for the Fire Release Kekai Genkai. Secondly, you would need to at least have C rank prowess when it comes to chakra usage and chakra working. Basically, you need to be as good as any of these knuckleheads, including Ino and Abisu. I can't believe Ino managed to pass the class to become a tuning, but I digress. And I know there are some of you already typing, but sir, Abisu is a jonin. But the point I'm trying to make is, if Abisu managed to make B rank, you can definitely make C rank. For your safety and for the preservation of my job, I'm not going to teach you this technique if you do not at least have a C rank. Why? Because you need to have good chakra control. This is so that you don't mistakenly turn the chakra into fire at the wrong time. I can imagine several ways in which that could go wrong. And that's it. You have all you need to know to master the Great Fireball Jutsu. Well, mostly, if the principles of the Jutsu were not treated like an Uchiha secrets. Since most canon characters who can perform the technique are Uchiha, you will either have to be born as one of those prigs, marry one of them, or convince one of them to teach you. Either way, you are in for a rough time. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of hand seals and stuff, let's first figure out how useful this technique is for you. Because I love all my students, I want you to decide for yourself if it's the right technique for you. So for the current users, we have Sasuke, Itachi, Madara, Obito, and Fugaku. Let's start with the one no one really knows about, Fugaku. So, Fugaku Uchiha is Itachi and Sasuke's father. And whilst I'm sure he's had some off-screen battle uses of this ability, he's mostly shown teaching his sons how to use the ability in the appearances I could find. Let me know if I missed any battle application. Then we have half-crushed Obito, whose use of the ability didn't seem to have developed past his rudimentary use of the technique from his time as a Ginen. But at least he was now smart enough to borrow someone else's hand to use the technique against Kakashi. Itachi's use of the technique isn't quite as awe-inspiring as the community would like you to believe. He did master it on the first try though, so he's no slouch there. Itachi's use of Great Fireball is much more conservative, I would say. Basically how anyone with common sense would use it, if you think that the best way to fight water is with more fire. Itachi uses Great Fireball primarily to serve as an opener to gauge his opponent's reaction and fighting style. This allows him to decide which kind of techniques to follow up with. And I think that's actually a very smart way to use it. Send a giant fireball at someone and figure out how they're going to react with it. Then we have Sasuke. Well, what can I say about Sasuke? I was initially impressed with his progress and use of the technique. As a genin, he was more of a stand and fire kind of guy. But after missing each time, he started to use the ability in his combos, mostly using the faster and more versatile Phoenix Flower Jutsu to limit his opponent's range and escape options before closing in with the fireball. That, students, is what I call making every move count. Of course, not all of us have the chakra to spare on successive techniques like our friend here. Though this guaranteed him more hits, it seemed that at this point in the game, his opponents were usually able to just shrug off the technique. Wow, imagine that, just pushing away a giant fireball. I will reiterate again how impressed I was at Sasuke's initiative in combining Phoenix Flower and Great Fireball together. But then you realize that he and Itachi have a similar style and wonder, is he just a fraud? Always in the shadow of his brother, this one, right? Anyway, it's with Sasuke that we are able to learn the many weaknesses of the technique, mostly because of his abysmal success rates. So what's the best way to deal with a Great Fireball, you say? Well, it's the simplest way. Just tank it. You heard me right, folks. If you have the chakra and resilience, just take the hits. Naruto and Gaara did it at 12 years old. What's to prevent you from doing the same? Of course, they had giant chakra monsters balled up in them, but who cares about the details? Alright. If that sounds too hard, then just dodge. You know, for a fireball that is so large, it's qualified with the word great, you'd be surprised at how easy it seems for people to just jump out of the way. Like here, Kakashi, pew! Naruto, Sasuke, and the old lady, pew! Even the old lady could do it. I mean, if she can do it, then and you can't, then I don't know what to tell you. You should probably not be in this class. You should head out now. I mean it like, go out now. Wait, don't leave. I would be a bad teacher if I just told you to leave. And I only get paid if you learn this material, you know. Fine, if you can't jump out fast enough, I do have some other options. Though they may not really increase your chances. If you do happen to know Haku's ice technique, that could work for you. Or you could just conjure a great wind against the flames to dispel it. I know what you're thinking. Isn't wind weak to fire? Shouldn't that make things worse? I don't know. It just works. From what I can tell, it's more like using several wind currents moving in multiple directions to disperse the fuel into several tiny parts that all burn up independently of each other. So yeah, that's how to deal with a Great Fireball. But don't get discouraged. Just cause the technique sounds hard to do doesn't mean it's deadly or anything. From what I can tell, the only time people got hurt by this technique are Naruto's further clones and Sasuke that one time he got burned by Itachi. So, should you invest in this jutsu? Well, if the type of opponents you're facing are these guys, then yes, you definitely rock with it. But if you're facing any of these guys, then nah, you're better off with something much better. But if you happen to chance on infinite chakra, you could upgrade this technique and turn it in for a wall of flames, a sea of flames, or a rain of fireballs, all courtesy of Madara here. These should cover all the weaknesses of the Great Fireball. Tired of everyone dodging your fireball? Go Majestic Flame Destroyer, Katon Go Kamekyaku. Its width so wide, it's described as a sea of flames. Now, let's see anyone dodge that. Want a more budget version that sends them to hell that conserves your chakra? Go Majestic Flame Destruction, Katon Go Kameshitsu, proven to work against 5 Kage, your money back guaranteed. Do your opponents think so hard you need another flex? Then why don't you pop into the air and try the Fireball Shower? It's like a golden shower that leaves you with an arcing charge. These techniques are, however, a bit more advanced, so I'll leave that as an assigned reading. For now, we are just going to focus on doing the technique itself, the Great Fireball Jutsu. If you're still here, it means you've actually committed to learning the Great Fireball Jutsu. Congratulations! Now to get into the hand seal. The hand signs to perform the Great Fireball Jutsu are quite simple. Just repeat after me. Snake, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger. I repeat again. Snake, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger. And for those of you looking for extra credits, we could try it in Japanese. Mi, hitsuji, saru, I, uma, tora. Mi, hitsuji, saru, I, uma, tora. Oops, I forgot to tell you not to try this at home. Hopefully no one actually burnt themselves. But again, if you did, congratulations, you've now mastered the Great Fireball technique. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Signing out, this has been Professor Korn, and this is Jutsu School 1-on-1. Thank you.